Good day, everybody. It's Josh here. And about a year ago, whoa, camera's fading. About a year ago, I made a video, and it was called Kumare. It was a review about this documentary I watched called Kumare. So I thought it was time to revisit this because at the time I made the video, I had mixed results with the comments people made as far as, whether they supported the idea or were opposed to it. So let me give you a rundown of it. If you've got Netflix, I think it's still on there. It's called Kumare, Kumare. You might be able to find it elsewhere, I'm sure. I just randomly turned it on one day, and what it's about is a guy from New Jersey who is of Indian descent. Not Native American, but Indian. And he decides that he wants to figure out what life's all about. And he goes on this spiritual quest to figure out what life's about, and he decides that he's going to pose as a spiritual leader or a guru. He dons himself in robes, beads, comes up with all these different yoga poses that don't really exist, all these other things, and he's basically gains a following. I mean, you'll have to watch it to get the point, but you see where I'm getting with this. But at the end of the documentary, they're interviewing all these people, who have been following him, and they're like, when I met him, I just knew there was something special about him. They're like, I can tell that he's just, something different, that there's something special about you, and on and on and on. And during the same time, some of the people who are doing the poses and stuff say, wow, I can really feel the flow of energy and everything. So here's the thing. I'm not disputing the validity of the experiences that people had. What I'm saying is that this little documentary really opened my eyes to just how easy it is to sway people's opinions based on their opinions or their feelings or their thoughts. And since we know that intention has so much of an effect on the person, then it's fine that a person gets that feeling from that, and it doesn't make the person any lesser of a person, or it doesn't mean that they're full of shit. It's just like the old placebo effect. If it works, it works. So, interesting documentary. I urge you to check it out, but I wanted to mainly clarify that there's an interesting point that people had when they'd comment. They said that it's not right, because at the end of the documentary, he reveals, of course, who he is. And some of the people laugh it off. Some of the people never talk to him again. Some people are pissed. And I had a few people comment on that video saying that that it wasn't right to do that because he let people down, and that people were hurt because of it, yada yada. Perhaps true. I don't think anybody was that hurt by the experience or experiment, if you will. But what I do think is that sometimes, I guess, what do they say? You've got to break eggs to make an omelet. Sometimes you have to go for the greater good, and what this is doing is maybe a few people were offended or butthurt by this for a little while, but in the long run, it showed millions of people how easy it is to fall for something, to fall for anything, if a person presents it in a way that seems legitimate. And there are many tools of the trade. Not all gurus are snake oil salesmen. By far, none of them are, I would assume. They've just had their, or not very many anyway, they've just had their experiences that convince them that what they believe is true, just like everyone else. And they want to share that with others. So, as far as a guru's training, I don't really think any of that matters as far as, a person's obviously going to have to know some basics about human consciousness and what it means to be alive. But if you go around with the notion of basically to love one another and to accept life for what it is, just those two notions, and put that into a practice, people will fall for it, because that's how people think. That's how we operate. We congregate towards ideas, and we're not separate beings. So when an idea begins to take hold, it can spread like wildfire in a particular area. This is how religions took such strong hold. And when they didn't take hold fast enough, they were forced, basically, people were forced to take the religion of the state. And today, with all the freedom of expression, freedom of religion, people really don't really know where to go sometimes. And they'll latch onto an idea like that. And it's really a fascinating insight into how people think. And so you might want to check it out, maybe not. Don't be offended by the idea, because I think it's important, because it opens up a door and a question of what really is true, you know? Where do our feelings really stem from, and our emotions? And when we have a feeling, that feeling is not unwarranted or belittled by where the experience came from, if you follow what I'm saying. It doesn't matter what the experience was a result of. It just means you had the experience, and that's what matters. And that's what perpetuates further thoughts and beliefs into a system. And that's why it's easy to get hung up on thinking that your way is the only way, because you know you've had a particular legitimate, strong experience that made you feel good and feel like you were right, righteous, you know. Many times this is a religious experience or a breakthrough in meditation, and you want to share that with the world. And sometimes people don't realize that other people's experiences are just as legitimate, they're just not the same. And we want consistency because we like that adherence to these groups. And if it doesn't adhere to our principles or paradigms, we cast it out. So, interesting documentary, interesting ideas. Namaste, everybody.